Hi guys, this is Josh, your EdTech specialist. Just thought I would do a brief reminder on the main points of Google Classroom for teachers. So here I am in my classroom home, which we get to that by going to classroom.google.com, or if you go into your array from Gmail or Drive, and it's usually down in more. So if we wanted to create a new class, we would start up here at the plus button, and then we would go to create class. So here, whatever the name of our class is, name of class, I always put in the time period it's for. So if it's for the academic year 16-17, I would put that. If it were just for like the fall of 16, I would put that. And if you are in secondary and you have period numbers, I would put that as well. And part of the reason I suggest to do that is because the section will display in the Google Drive folder. So if you have 4 classes called ninth grade English or English 10 AP, and you don't give them period names in the section number, the folders are all going to be called the same thing. So that's really a best practice as it relates to the Google Drive. So I'm not actually going to create that. So let's look now. This is my test class. You can see I have 24 students here. Classes where you see, because some of our principals use Google Classroom to distribute information. So if you see a circle here with somebody else's picture, that means you're a student in that class. If your Google Classroom thinks you're a teacher, you can both join classes and create classes. So this is my classroom environment. You can see our picture at the top, and this is the stream, which is where most of our work is going to take place. You can see assignments have the little clipboard icon, and you can see done, not done. There's a question feature, which I'll talk about briefly, and you can see, on this one I have 5 done, and I have 19 not done. So that's one of the ways Google Classroom helps us keep track of that stuff. So here we're going to go with how do we start a new assignment. So as with most things, I'm going to get rid of some of that ink for you. As with most things in Google, we start with a plus button. So I'm going to go ahead and click plus, and I have a few options. So first is announcements, and that's exactly what they sound like. Announcements have no action item for the student. There's nothing to turn in. It's one-way information. Now, announcements, you can attach links to websites. You can attach stuff from Google Drive. You can attach videos from YouTube. So it's similar to an announcement, but not quite the same thing. And then we have assignments, which is most of what we're going to do. This year, Google Classroom added a question feature. This can be short answer or multiple choice. And then if you've been using Classroom for a while, you can reuse posts from prior terms and from other classes. So I'm going to go ahead and click Create Assignment. So the first thing we have to do is, and you'll notice the Assign button is sort of, the blue Assign button is our last step. It's going to be grayed out until we have all our required things. So we're going to say Lesson 1. So notice the assignment button switched to blue. I could assign out if I needed to. Now instructions are optional, so the instructions might be something that I put there. Due dates. Now you can turn a due date off. For example, if it has no, it's a recurring assignment that you're going to keep bumping to the top of the stream later. But, if I didn't want it due tomorrow, I could, pick, let's say next Friday. Time is optional by default. It will go in at midnight if you add a time, but it's not hard, for example, to change that to, for example, 11:30 a.m. Now, I haven't actually attached anything yet, and that's actually where, all the fun of Google Classroom is. So we have 4 options here. And if we hover over each one, we'll get a little hover text that tells us what it is. Upload a file to attach. That means it lives on the computer and you're uploading to attach it to the assignment. The Google Drive triangle means attach an item from Google Drive, add a YouTube video, and the last one, the chain link, attach a link to a web page. Now here's the deal, and some people don't always understand this, but you can attach more than one thing. So I'm going to head into my Google Drive, and here I see all of my folders, but I'm going to go find the assignment that I want to give to my students. So I have this untitled document here. We're going to add that. Now, by default, we are set to students can view the file. Okay? If we want each student to have their own copy, then what we need to do is come down and click make a copy for each student. Now each kid will get their own copy of this. When they open the assignment, it will be done automatically for them. It's very important that this get done at this step, because later you can edit the name or the instructions, you can change the due date, but you cannot change this. I call this the photocopier option, and it has to be sent at original creation. Now you could have it so they can just view the file, which means that's all they could do. You can have, if you put students can edit the file, it means every student in your Google Classroom course will be edit onto that one file. So for example, if you wanted to do like collective storytelling or a collective note taking where the whole class takes notes into one document, then this would be the setting that we want. But if we want everyone to have their own, we're going to make a copy for each student. So I'm going to go into YouTube just to show you how that looks. And I'm going to say I need a video on the War of 1812. So when we're here, we can click on the little thumbnails to do a little preview of what we want and see how long it is. This is 2 hours. That's way too long. This one here says 13 minutes. You can see right here it says 13 minutes. That looks a little bit better. This one says 3 minutes. Let's do 3-minute history. So you should always preview what you watch before you send it to kids. This looks like it's clearly made for students, and I happen to have already seen that video, so I'm going to go ahead and add it. And then maybe I want to have them go look at a website. And that had a typo, history.org. And then I click add. And, I could even go back to Google Drive and attach yet another, document or set of slides. So, for example, this set of slides here about SAMR and etc. Now, each one of them that I set the document make a copy for each student, but I could leave this one students can view only. So they don't all have to have the same permission. And you see the video and the link to the web page don't have any sort of permission. So I'm going to leave this as students can view. I didn't have to click the drop down, and I'm going to attach one more thing from Google Drive. Let's say I want them to work on this document as well. Only this is going to be a collective document, so we're going to say that all students can edit the file. So here I have my 5 attachments. Now, I happen to have teachers in this, so I got to check my typos. So I'm going to tell the teachers who are enrolled in this Google Classroom class that there's nothing to really look at here, because I have some teachers who really pay attention to this. So now I could assign it, but I want to show you something else. So this drop down where it says play testing for training is the name of my current class. If I had several classes that I would want to assign this in, for example, these 2 classes, then I could, so for example, if I had 3 of the same subject and I needed to give them all the same assignment, I wouldn't have to recreate this 3 times. I could just click that drop down. Again, that was right here, and say what 2 classes it needs to go to. So this is going to go into the history of everything, this class, and my testing. So it tells me it's going into 3 classes. If I wanted to just set this up and save it for later, I would click Save Draft, but I'm going to go ahead and assign. Now it might take a second. You can see things in the background moving. it's more or less